Chapter 1. Aranos Evenshade, first Sorcerer, Master of Skills, the Ascendant and the Liberator, sort of hero of the elven Stronghold of Eredain, kicked the glass dome of his mindscape and swore furiously, rubbing his aching toe. Behind him, the ephemeral form of Lithian, an ancient elf whose memories once instructed him in the basic craft of sorcery, froze in mid-sentence. The playback of her image paused once more as Aranos stomped around the mindscape in frustration, muttering curses under his breath. He had spent the last few hours in this place, deep within his subconscious, surrounded by the rapidly spinning spirals of his collected mana that hovered just beyond the dome. He'd started the session totally elated. Not only were Lithian's memories not completely destroyed when he killed the corrupted sorcerer to free the lost city of Eredain, but his mana control was finally high enough that he could aspect his mana. That meant that rather than using weaker, unaspected mana that was a chaotic mass of opposing energies, he could draw specific types of power, fire, for example, or earth, and use his energy much more effectively. At least theoretically. He had listened carefully several times to the recorded memory Lithian's spectre had planted in his head until he thought he had a firm grasp of the concepts involved. He had taken his time, drew the power slowly, just as she said. And yet, here he was, hours later, unable to conjure up a single puff of air or flicker of flame. In fact, his best effort had produced nothing more than a dull orange haze that hovered over his upturned palm, not even warming his hand, much less able to set an enemy ablaze. It was frustrating, because he knew that this was an issue unique to sorcerers. Wizards, clerics, and other spell-using classes didn't have to worry about separating out the unique types of mana and drawing them in exactly the right way. No, their spells did all the work for them. When a wizard cast a spell, they poured raw mana of all aspects into it. The spell itself siphoned away the extraneous mana and left only the specific type it needed. Of course, this made those spells horribly inefficient, but it also made them much simpler to cast. A brand-new first-level wizard could probably cast the same firebolt at day 1 that Aranos was struggling with now, 8 levels later. It wouldn't be all that powerful. It wouldn't grow as much as the wizard did, and they'd only be able to cast it a few times before they ran out of SP, or spell points. But they could do it, and so far, he couldn't. As a sorcerer, Aranos' magic was only limited by his imagination, and apparently his ability to pull a freaking stream of pure mana from his core. Once he got the feel for this, though, he was pretty sure he'd be able to create all kinds of elemental effects.